Hello there, everybody. Welcome back. I'm here to be talking about Hazbin Hotel Season 2. Now, yes, I know it's been a good while since I've last done a video, but don't worry, because I do have a lot of videos that I do plan on making before the end of the year, because naturally the end of the year is really busy with my ranking videos and some last-minute movie reviews and show reviews. But with all that said, we got a lot to talk about here because this is the long-awaited second season of Hazbin Hotel. And I will say before I really dive into it, it will be a spoiler video. And the finale has been out for a couple days now, and they released it weekly, so just be warned. But going into this season, as we could see on the poster and all, the main antagonist is Vox and, the overall V's, but mainly Vox. And it follows, for one, Charlie trying to, after, the events of season 1 with the Battle of Adam and all that. It's them, they rebuilt the hotel, they're trying to prove that the redemption is possible, which very quickly they find out with Serpentius being redeemed, and so it's her trying to really prove it to everyone else and trying to redeem more people, while Vox is trying to start a war, rising up the residents of hell to combat heaven and, take over and become like a god and stuff. So he is, without a doubt, when you really watch this season, it reminds me a lot of, for example, Avengers Infinity War, how the director said that the film was Thanos' film. He's the protagonist, he's the main character. And in a lot of ways, I felt that way about Vox because, there's very few times where a season comes out and there's an ensemble of characters and it just, you could tell it's their season, whether they be the good guy or the bad guy. And Vox, this is absolutely his season, and that scene in particular that happens near the end is one of the most powerful, in terms of all range of emotions, from terrifying to shocking to really sad for what's going on there. And the performances, which I really want to dive into as well, especially Christian Borle, who played Vox, did a magnificent job. Obviously, all the other cast is great. Erica Henderson as Charlie, Keith David as my goat, the best Husk, Blake Roman as Angel Dust, Amir Talal, if I pronounced that right, I probably didn't, I'm sorry, as Alistair. Everyone across the board. Alex Brightman, obviously, Serpentius, and a little bit of a cameo type role as Adam. And, of course, a scene stealer in terms of the song, Jessica Vox, who performed, Gravity as Lute. That sequence, this show, what it does great is, for one, unlike season 1, the episodes are a little bit longer in runtime, especially the finale being almost 40 minutes, which adds a lot more to, balance out all the stuff going on, because you have all these different characters, like Charlie, being a bit manic and freaking out and all, and trying to, hyper focus on redeeming more people after learning that it worked. And, Vaggie takes a bit of a backseat, but she's, kind of holding down the fort, holding down the hotel and keeping it running while Charlie's doing all of her stuff. You have Vox and the 3Vs being disgusting monsters, and they're just trying to be evil and stuff with their plans. You have Angel kind of being a guinea pig in a way for, Charlie being I can redeem someone else, and that is Angel. And then, of course, you have the scene where you learn a big plot twist, but I have some mixed feelings about Vox using Angel this whole time, really, almost this whole time, as a spy, an unwilling spy. And that sequence, for example, that scene in particular, I thought was really terrifying and just really creepy and stuff. But in terms of the plot twists, I was expecting something like that, to be honest with you, because it did make sense. But in terms of context, yeah, he did reveal some information that Vox didn't know, but it just felt like Charlie and how her, loud and out her character is about just saying all sorts of stuff and being over exaggerating and stuff. It just felt like, was there really a need to do the whole spy thing? Because she's just telling you everything. She literally, in the episode where she tries to redeem Angel, with Husk also, pushing Angel to, see if he could be redeemed, she invites Vox and Velvet there. And I was just thinking, girl, what? Why would you invite the two people that are teamed up with his abuser Val to his, safe space, a place where he feels comfortable to be himself and stuff. And Charlie's been getting a lot of flack from fans, rightfully so, but also, I mean, it is part of her character, and characters are still growing. And I mean, a lot of people were like, well, she should have learned after the Masquerade episode about going to his studio and all, but it's hard for people to really change when they're just that way. I mean, she does feel remorseful and stuff, but a lot of people knocked that a bit, which I get. And the thing that I personally, knocked a bit was the twist about, the angel being hypnotized and all. While the scene was, well executed and, creepy and tense and stuff, again, like, was there really a need for that? Which, probably there was, because of one or two plot points that were able to be moved forward due to that. But again, this season all around was just fantastic. Everyone gets a chance to shine, especially during song sequences. Even Nifty, who's kind of like a gag, side character, she's really fun and awesome. Kamiko Glenn plays her, and like, she even gets like a song sequence, which has become such a fun song. Like, all the songs, like almost all of them, I thought were really great, and I do look forward in the future to ranking them like I did with season 1. But they give everyone a chance to sing that I wasn't really expecting to really get a chance to sing. And I think that's because of those few extra minutes in each episode, which the show desperately needs. And I hope we also get longer, either more episodes or longer lengths for each episode going forward, because I think it helps build the world out even more. And I will say, like, I have to talk about it. Angel and Husk are like my two favorite characters by far in this show. My main obsession for even really watching the show and liking it as much as I do. And I thought their arc, was it was magnificent. It was everything I really wanted to see, because while the ending of season 2 was really sad and made me, really sad, I thought, obviously, going into season 3, that's probably going to build to like a big payoff of them finally becoming, more than just, friends and stuff. And because you could tell throughout the season with, Husk pushing along with Charlie and the angel being redeemed, and then they had a little tiff where you could just, after, where he was mad that Angel would risk his life to save him, because it's been well established that Husk doesn't really care about his well-being and stuff, and is just, a lonely drunk, as he calls, a sad drunk, and he doesn't think he's deserving of being redeemed, but he cares so much for his friend and willing to help him out. And seeing Angel, also like being more comfortable and in his skin, and that one sequence where Husk is at his lowest, after that great song by Keith David, and he just stares in awe at Angel, when during that, drag sequence. I thought that was my favorite scene in the season 2, like one of my favorite scenes, because it just shows, like, it answered, like, it gave us so much. It gave us two great songs, a solo Husk song and then an Angel, solo, and the foreshadowing and like the Easter eggs and stuff, like, how Husk during singing during his song, there's a lot of hints and references to, his relationship with Angel being this scene, which you could tell, like, I knew what they were cooking with that. Or Angel, when he was singing, you saw like Husk wings around, like, in the back of him, which is becoming like a trend of Husk wings behind Angel during certain parts, which I thought was just great. And it just I just really like their relationship and how it's been building slowly. And I really wish more of the stuff was done like this, because there was a sequence with Cherry Bomb and Serpentious, which I guess that was like, they kind of had a little thing at the end of season 1, but they were given a bit more crumbs for fans of that. And I will say they are cute together and stuff, and their song was so well done. Like, I was like jamming to it. But I just wish maybe it's a time constraint. Maybe if they had more time for more of these dynamics to be fleshed out more. And that's just a little nitpick again. But it's really no fault of the people who make the show because they're working with what they got. But I will say, going back to Vox again, seeing, like, you really see all sorts of him because, for one, he's one of, I believe, 3 characters of the main type of cast who get their human design revealed this season. The other 2 being Alistair and Serpentius, which means going forward we'll probably see more human designs of the other characters, which I really do like to see what they were like before they got the hell. But seeing how they really dived into him being like this evil, like cult leader type dude who is as a monster and wants power, and he has something good, like he has Val and Velvet, and obviously he has a thing with Val, but and like he's already like in charge of like Vox Techs, and like he's at the near top in hell, but yet his obsession with Alistair, which is due to the fact that he actually during that flashback really did care for him, and he was just screwed so bad because Alistair is a horrible person, as we know, but he's also horrible, so they're both terrible people. But just seeing, he had everything, and that shot of him with the single tear willing to destroy, like kill himself and blow everyone up just to make Alistair stop, smirking at him, looking down on him as inferior. That was such an interesting dynamic, seeing someone who rose up and had all this power, even though they were manipulating people and using others to achieve the goal, and just seeing that downfall. I mean, he's still alive and stuff, but I guess he'll just be a floating head for now after, what happened there. But just seeing that downfall after all of this we sat through, I was just really, like, again, the animation, the performances, everything clicked together throughout the season that just made it such a blast to watch. I also wanted to quickly mention that scene where Angel, was still trapped at the tower, and Husk and Cherry went to go and rescue him, and then they had to fight Valentino. I thought that whole sequence was excellent. Just seeing them, 2 of Angel's closest friends try to help him out and stand up to the abuser of Val and stuff, and just seeing how that all played out, and even that moment where Angel was still like under control and attacking them. I just like the whole sequence there was a lot for fans to really enjoy, especially like just seeing the action was great, the banter of what Val was saying and stuff. The actual like creepy, you could tell the animation, it changed to like a creepier type of tone when Angel was being used to choke out Cherry, like, and even Husk having to hit him to snap him out. Like the whole like sequence there, I just wanted to quickly mention because it was really well done. And I probably rambled on a lot, but I had a lot to say, and I just really wanted to get my thoughts out on this. But with all that said, those were all my sporadic thoughts on Hazbin Hotel Season 2. Again, what'd you all think? And please let me know down below in the comment section. Again, I really did have a blast watching this season, and even seeing more of an exploration of, Heaven, seeing more characters introduced like Abel, which I almost forgot to mention, that was great, and seeing how different he is from Adam. Sarah and Emily getting more of a spotlight in their characters, and the slow tension of Lute sort of going insane about what's happened, but they're developing it so well that she's going to be a big threat down the line. But again, that was everything I had to re-say on it. I just had to quickly mention them. But please let me know down below in the comment section what you thought. And if you want to hit the bell and subscribe to when I upload, that would mean so much to me. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.